Aaron, you now have to include plants as a category of the undead, and these so-called zombie leaves were discovered for the first time by an Illinois professor. Brains or leaves? In this case, it's leaves.
So we call these zombie leaves because the leaf is no longer functioning like a leaf.
Jim Dalling is a professor in the Department of Plant Biology at Illinois. He also frequently makes trips to a work site in Panama.
We were out there for a completely different project.
While digging around for an unrelated species, this is where he made this new finding.
In the process of doing that, there are all these sort of dead leaves kind of touching the soil, and I'm trying to sort of brush them out of the way so I have enough space so I can dig. And at that point I realized, hang on, these dead leaves are actually anchored into the soil.
And that was the moment of discovery.
And you can see they're all sort of covered in moss, so they're very old. And there's the base of a dead leaf here. And what you're seeing here are the ends of the vascular tissue from the leaf in my hand.
Dalling was incredibly excited for this, but it was a complicated process. He made the finding in February of 2020, which was before the COVID-19 pandemic began. So while he knew that this fern existed, he had to leave Panama in a hurry and could not do any more further research for a good deal of time. This is what he called the frustrating part.
Before the pandemic, we were able to show that roots had sort of developed from these dead leaves, but we couldn't actually say that these were functioning like roots.
His wife and research associate at the U of I, Astrid Ferrer, was right alongside for the discovery as well. She said it was hard for Dalling to have to wait to do further research during this time.
It was a little bit more difficult, the fact that it was almost just a few days after that everything, got in lockdown, that he needed to keep, this for himself.
Dalling then made his return to Panama in late 2021, and this is when he was able to fully understand this plant.
We did an experiment. And so what we did was we got basically like a source of fertilizer, a source of nitrogen that the plant would want to take up and transfer into new leaves that this tree fern is producing.
From there, it was bringing product samples back to the Institute for Genomic Biology on U of I's campus.
You can see how the dead leaves have been tilted down to the ground. So this is just the rachis of the leaf. It's covered in moss and lichens. And then what we did was just pull them out of the soil.
For Dalling and Ferrer, it was exciting to come upon a novel discovery. Dalling said it's not something that happens often in your career.
But when they do happen by chance, it's just a really fun thing to be able to write about and talk about.
Doing a project on podocarps, and suddenly, almost immediately, in the same first week working there, finding this fern, I couldn't be more lucky.
Something even crazier is that Dalling said some leaves that collect up from the fern could be between 10 to 15 years old. So clearly not something that happens overnight. A neat discovery for everyone. I'm Will Charlton. Back to you, Aaron.